Hello, I'm Dr. Stephen Andrew Missick. I was at the Capitol in D.C. on January 6th. Today is the third year anniversary, if you can believe it. So I thought I would take some time to reflect on what has happened and what had happened. So they stole the election. I have no doubt in my mind. I mean, these shenanigans, when it takes day after day, week after week to count the ballots and all this criminality going on, that's what it was. You want people to trust this system. When we see things like that going on, I just don't buy it. And I don't buy this man, Joe Biden, doesn't campaign, can't draw any crowds, can't even speak coherently. I mean, he's deteriorated a lot, but he started off at a very low level. So I'm concerned about this. I believe in the Constitution. I believe in our system. So what do you do? What do you do when you have massive voter fraud and the people's voice, the people's vote is canceled out through fraud, through overt, blatant fraud? Well, I mean, we have freedom of speech, the right to assemble, so let's go and let our voices be heard. And they have this mechanism for contesting electors. So I go there just to, let's stand up for America. Let's stand up for our system. Let's stand up and say we want election integrity. We need free, fair, and clean elections. We want to be able to trust the system and not feel like it's corrupted. And we want our concerns addressed instead of just dismissed. Let our voices be heard. You cannot silence us. So obviously, the FBI was ready. And I wanted to challenge you. I mean, you watch some videos on this. First is Capital Punishment by Nick Searcy. I think that's a great video. And then we have Dinesh D'Souza's Police State. But I recently watched an hour-long video called January 1st, January 6th, The True Timeline. And I thought that was pretty good. So when I went to the Capitol, I was there like 6:30 in the morning or maybe 6. I went to Washington Monument. I got in line and I went to hear the president speak. So I was in the crowd looking at the president. I could barely see him. I was like... I could see him with my eyes. I was in the audience, but I don't know if they had the camera crew or whatever blocking my view, so I had to turn my head and look at him. We had a screen I was looking at, so I was able to, see the president directly with my own eyes. I was in that audience. Now, that's the first time I've seen the president, and I've seen him 4 times since then, if you can believe it. So after that, we're going to peacefully and patriotically march. And when I was on the border mission, they tried to get me in trouble for this. I went to these Tejanos for Trump because there's a lot of Trump support among the Hispanic community. And I was on the border and everybody's, it's 90% Hispanic. And so we had these Tejanos for Trump rallies. And we had Monica de la Cruz, Myra Flores, and others who were campaigning at these events that I attended. I never attended one of these in uniform. But after January 6th, when they decided to go after me, they made this accusation against me. Oh, we know you attended Tejanos for Trump rally. So I had been to, I guess, Trump rallies, but after January 6th, I've been in several Trump rallies where Trump was there instead of just, Trump supporters like Monica de la Cruz and Myra Flores and all that. So we hear the president speak. I walk down the road, and this is a typical Trump rally. You got the jovial mood and, people just walking along. And there was no thought of violence. Everybody was cheerful and a happy disposition. And I have to say, when I went, I gave some sermons before I went in my church about, why I was going, what my motivations were. And it's like, look, I don't think we can prevent this coup. I think it's most likely that there is a chance, but I think it's most likely that we're going to have Biden installed into office. What we can do is bring attention to this problem. We can have our concerns voiced in Congress through the contesting elector and have it displayed on C-SPAN, and entered in the congressional record. So the whole public can see what the courts don't want you to hear about, the politicized courts, what the news media doesn't want you to hear about, even Fox, the Never Trump Fox network. They don't want you to hear or see these things, but we have the right in this country to express our views at our nation's capital. So whatever had gone on or happened had already happened by the time I got to the Capitol. And I didn't go in. And so I watched, and I recommend you watch it. I watched the January 6th True Timeline video. And it looks like it was a setup. inside job. They wanted us. I think they wanted two things to happen, and we see this from what Roy Epps was trying to do. They wanted people to go inside the Capitol so they could say there's a Capitol breach or a riot or insurrection, and they needed somebody to die, and several people did die, including they shot Ashley Babbitt. That's the only violence I saw. I saw there had been some tear gas. It was dissipating by the time I got there, and somebody ran out and said they just killed a little girl. Talking about Ashley Babbitt, but people were outside the Capitol milling around. You had like Catholic priests for Trump, Vietnamese for Trump, Chinese for Trump, Persians for Trump. It's just people just their little booths outside the Capitol while supposedly a riot was going on. But I have to say, I don't know if these were FBI agents, agent provocateurs. Some of them doing the violence were definitely, I think it's pretty obvious, they're federal agents of some sort, such as Roy Epps. I believe that. But some of the hooliganism, like climbing up on the walls or just going to the Capitol, you have to show respect. Respect. I mean, this is our Capitol. It should show, give it some sanctity of, it's sacred in a sense, from my point of view. I don't appreciate, like, say for instance, the Buffalo guy, the QAnon shaman, was it Jacob Chansley? He seems to be well-meaning, but going around and hooting and holler the way he did, he didn't deserve to be in solitary confinement for 2 years, but I don't think his behavior was appropriate. I mean, on the other hand, they're escorting him around. So I also want you to recommend that you watch some of the interactions between like Ted Cruz and, what was her name, Jill Sanborn, and especially Clay Higgins and Christopher Wray. And Clay Higgins says there's probably 200, at least, as a conservative number for him. He believes that he's identified 200 FBI agents that orchestrated the so-called riot or insurrection. Now, if you watch, it's all raw footage. If you watch the January 6th, the Truth on January 6th video, and watch that, it shows this big crowd of people. They weren't really doing anything. Yeah, it's a large crowd of people, and they just started shooting into them and shooting like rubber bullets and other canisters. I think it was inappropriate. They're calling it a riot. People were, there's a big crowd there, but they weren't rioting, not until they were kind of provoked. This guy got shot through the cheek. I mean, they weren't rioting. They're just just a big crowd of people, and it was a setup. And here's the one thing that really bothers me about the whole thing is like the National Guard wasn't there. They refused the National Guard because they wanted an incident, and they had to have two things happen. Number one, like I said, people had to go into the Capitol, and somebody had to die, because that way they could say it's a deadly breach, a deadly insurrection, and a riot. So then they exploit it for all it's worth, and they're still arresting people, and it's kind of amazing where you get murderers get lighter sentence than somebody that walked in there escorted by the Capitol Police and took a selfie and walked out, and they get 5 years in prison. Elderly people. It's insane what's going on. And what it is, this is political oppression. This is weaponizing the government against Trump supporters. That's what it's all about. And it was a setup. They stole the election. It's part of a vast criminal conspiracy by the so-called deep state to do now we got the ruling junta, because Joe Biden, and not only did he not win the election, he's not the real president. I mean, he can't even, not only can he not, half the time, not only can he not string sentences together, he can't even enunciate words, he can't walk across the stage. And some of the things some of the despicable behavior that he's done is an outrage. I don't understand why we put up with this. Of course, the media we have in this country, even Fox, is so corrupt that, we have these dead bodies. Because of his negligence and incompetence, we had soldiers, sailors, Air Force, airmen, and Marines dying in Afghanistan, this botched withdrawal. And the dead bodies, the parents grieving over the dead bodies of their sons and daughters, and he just keeps on looking at his watch because he doesn't give a damn. And then, you have a problem with what's going on, then they're going to arrest you right now. And now they're saying, okay, we went after all the people inside the Capitol, now the people that were outside the Capitol, we're going to go after those people too. I didn't do anything. I listened to the president's speech. I walked. I I stayed outside the Capitol. I looked around and I left. And of course, the other thing is I filmed the whole day. And this is the interesting thing. I just uploaded all the raw footage onto YouTube. And what happened? Notice that the social media moguls, the tech tyrants, this monopoly of Google and which owns YouTube, Facebook, and at that time Twitter, they're controlled by the FBI. The FBI is doing censorship on this. So what I did is I videoed the whole day. Like I said, I've been to Trump rallies that Trump wasn't, Tahanos for Trump, rallies that Trump hadn't, Trump rallies that Trump wasn't in person until, like I said, after Trump did the January 6th. I've seen it 4 times past that. So it's a typical Trump rally. And I had a GoPro and I had another camera. And I filmed pretty much, had raw footage that I filmed all day long. I just uploaded it on YouTube. And they gave me a strike for fraud and they took it down. And I was saying that eventually they just took my whole channel down for nothing, because we don't have free speech in America anymore. So I contested this, like, this is fraud. It's like, how is this fraud? This is me walking around all day long in D.C. with a camera on my head, and I didn't edit the footage. I just strung it all together and uploaded the raw footage. How is that? Explain to me how that's, they don't talk to you, just appeal denied. Because they have a narrative and they want to control the narrative so they can exploit the narrative, and they're doing it even now. We need action. They went after me as much as they could. I didn't really do anything, so they actually did harm me a lot. And I don't want to go into all the details. Could have been a lot worse. It could have been a lot worse because you have innocent people who've suffered a lot. Like I said, just watch Capital Punishment with Nick Searcy. What they're doing to our country with the lie of January 6th. So Tucker gets a hold of the video, Tucker Carlson, and he's going to show it. And Chuck Schumer threatens, he threatened Supreme Court justices with violence, and then he starts threatening Fox News. Fox News is probably looking for an excuse to get rid of Tucker anyway, because he's not following the Rhino playbook. Not playing their little reindeer games. He's doing his own thing. So they got to get rid of him. And then they fired Tucker Carlson mostly because he's blowing up the January 6th narrative. And the thing is, they're losing their minds on the video being released to the public. It's like, and then some of their excuses. It's like, this could be used. The Capitol is open to the public. You can go online and get the diagrams of the Capitol. There's no terrorist threat or showing any vulnerabilities at all in that footage being. Plus, that's an old building. When they building the Capitol or taking the form it's now in during the Civil War, they're building the dome on it, I believe. So this is a building that's over 150 years old. That's the public is allowed to. That's BS. What's going on is they don't want you to see that there is very little violence. Mike Johnson, the new Speaker of the House, he's supposed to be releasing video. He's released a lot. I appreciate that. He needs to release everything. And now he's like, I'm going to go in there. We're going to blur out people's faces. I want to know. I'm telling you, I want to know, because this is sedition and it's treason. I want to know every damn FBI agent that those 200 people that Clay Higgins has identified. I want to know. I want their faces on the internet, just like the way they went after us. I want their faces plastered on the internet, and we're going to go after all these people because this is treason and sedition, what they did. We're not the ones guilty of insurrection, sedition, and treason. The FBI is. We need to disband that organization, and every FBI agent that's involved in this they need to be criminally prosecuted and never see the light of day for the rest of their life. At least treat them the way they treated us, we January 6ers. Because it's an outrage. This was an overthrow of our government, and then an excuse to persecute with the weaponization of the government against the opposition party, against Trump. And Clay Higgins, watch that video. He says something very important, and it's like the Democrats, this is a fact, it's a sad fact, the Democrats could not have done this on their own. There's two people responsible for the security of the U.S. Capitol building, and that's Nancy Pelosi. She needs to be criminally investigated. That's also Mitch McConnell. He was in on it. It blows my mind. Look at what recently happened is with the FBI. We know what the FBI has done. We know how evil they are. We know that they're a threat to our Constitution. They're a threat to the survival of our constitutional republic. And what do? Let's give them gazillion more dollars. So roughly you have 200 Republicans or so in the House, and half of them voted after all the outrages that the FBI has committed against our great nation, against our citizens. They're going to give them more money to build, a huge, massive fortress. And there's no accountability over the FBI. They can do whatever the hell they want. And, Congress just sits around twiddling their thumbs. They need to stop dithering and release the January 6th videos, all of it. They're still going after innocent people right now after 3 years. We should have started fighting back immediately. But, that also provided an excuse for a lot of senators in Congress. Oh, we had a riot. Oh, we got to... The whole purpose, there's two purposes that the FBI's riot served. Number one, they needed to silence people. That they needed to stop the challenging of the electors, and they wanted to ram through ratification, silence these objections, and ram through ratification. That's the first things that they wanted to do. But then that gives them a pretense to, and Mr. Higgins says this, and I think it's absolutely correct, that they're trying to tar and put a shade over the entire MAGA movement. Oh, look at these people. They're insurrectionists. And it's baloney. And it's terrible that we have Republicans in on this or using that as an excuse. Very few have stood up. I mean, even Ted Cruz, look, we need to support our hard-working Republican heroes. But even Ted Cruz was getting wobbly. On January 6th, he went and vindicated himself after that. But we've got to say this was not an insurrection. This is not like the Civil War. This isn't like D-Day or September 11th. In fact, it was an inside job by the FBI. That's obvious now. And they need to release all the videos, and as soon as possible. I mean, innocent people are still suffering, held hostage to this day. And anybody that was actually, that's why I want to know who these FBI agents were and what they're doing. We have to hold the FBI accountable. And I think there's no doubt about that now. And I think that, Clay Higgins is saying that he has confidence that there were at least 200 FBI agents, and he didn't give a number on the Capitol Police and others that were pulled onto this. And he saw evidence that people were proffering to him that could have indicated that the Pentagon and the DOD was involved in this too. He's dismissing that. I hope he's right, but at this point, it wouldn't surprise me. But the evidence needs to be released. People need to, be held accountable for what they do. They need to stop this lie. And like I said, look how eager, how obsessed and upset that Chuck Schumer was to keep the eyes of the public from seeing the video from January 6th, because everything they're telling you about it, I was there, I know, is a lie. It's a lie. And we just need to have some intestinal fortitude, grow a backbone, and fight on behalf of our January 6ers. They stole the election, and I didn't do anything wrong. In fact, it was good and right for me to go to the Capitol and stand up for free, fair, and clean elections, and to ask for our government to let us voice our concerns and hear us. That's what it's about. But they want to shut us up. They're trying to strip our freedoms away. And I'm running for state legislature. So pray for me that I win. We need January 6ers. Maybe Mike Johnson can drag his feet, because to him it's not, it's just, he can be, I guess, a little objective about it. But this is something that affected me personally, and it's affected a lot of Americans. People have died. Ashley Babbitt died. I don't know what she was doing. Is she breaking through the window, sticking her head? That's inappropriate. But you don't shoot her through the neck. A short, 90-pound little woman, an Air Force veteran. If she's doing some kind of vandalization, I don't know what she's doing. I can't see the video clearly. I don't approve of that, but you don't murder her. That guy didn't. That officer just shot her without even seeing her clearly. And there were several people, including police officers, standing around her. He could have killed other people too, besides as gross negligence. Shooting that woman, it should be considered a homicide. I think that it looks to me, like I said, they had to have two things happen. They needed somebody to die. And they're still lying about people dying. Officer Setnick died of natural causes, totally unrelated to January 6th. over a day later, I'm sorry, he died. I've had a friend, 38-year-old woman, passed away. It happens. Sometimes people die young, and it happened to him, sadly. Didn't have anything to do with, and yet they're perpetuating. Oh, 5 officers. This movie, the January 6th True Timeline, it shows everybody who died. I think it's like 5 people. And Rosalind Boylan might have been, it looks like she was killed through negligence of the police officers. And also, of course, Ashley Babbitt was murdered. So look at, another thing that's interesting or dangerous, it's dangerous about this. One of the most disturbing things, like I said, they're exploiting this fictional, this false narrative about January 6th to use it as a pretense to go after, Donald Trump. And Joe Biden has given like 3 of these Darth Sidious speeches that, the Mega MAGA or Ultra MAGA people are dangerous. Oh, we got to go get the Ultra MAGA people. I never thought in the United States of America you would see such hatred and divisiveness from the President of the United States attacking the country like that. I mean, this is something you expect from China or some dictator like Hugo Chavez or Castro or Ayatollah Khomeini. Just the wickedness of him giving these, the dark room and the military and the blood red shade. It's just disturbing. And what is he doing this? What is he using as the basis for him to attack the MAGA movement? Oh, January 6th, he just did it. He kicked off his campaign. The insult of our country, trying to claim he's this villain, is George Washington goes to Valley Forge to use January 6th to exploit that for political leverage. Just the whole thing is about, it's just a political tool to wage war against the citizens and the patriots of the United States of America. And why are these Republicans also doing it? Not all the Republicans, a faction of Republicans, the Bush, Cheney, Romney faction of Republicans. Why are they doing this? They want to stop Trump at all costs. And the reason why Trump is important is because we're tired. Republicans who believe in conservatism, we're tired of being the disservice that we suffer from the McCains, the Romneys, the Bushes, and we want someone who's actually going to stand up for the people and advance conservatism. And that's what Donald Trump did. They don't want that. They want to play a game. You've got the uniparty system, and we can't have that anymore. And they realize that their day is done. Once we get Trump back in there, it's over for the rhinos. They can, and this is what this is what they're doing under Trump when he was president anyway. Just change their parties, leave the party, get out. We don't want you. I would say don't let the door hit you on the way out, but I hope it does give them a pop right in the rear end. Go to the Democrat Party. We don't want you in our party anymore. We want somebody who's going to fight for the people, fight for the Republic, fight for the Constitution, and fight for America and Republican ideals the way Donald J. Trump does. And get these no good, sorry, rhinos out of our party. Because we're tired of being played. That's why Trump was elected in the first place. It's because we see, since Ronald Reagan, we've been played by these rhinos. And now we've got Marxists taking over the Democrat Party. It's a Marxist party right now. And the Republicans don't want to fight back. And Trump is a warrior, shockingly, for conservatism. And we need a fighter. The Democrats fight like hell. And Republicans, they want to cave in at the drop of a hat. And they drop their hat so they can cave in. So we need to preserve our Constitution. We need to preserve America. We need to keep America great, strong, and free. And the Democrat Party and the rhino establishment represent a threat to that. They're going full board socialist, Marxist, atheist, communist. Apparently, that's what it looks like to me. And we want to maintain America and keep America greatness, not just for ourselves, but for ourselves, for our family, our children, our posterity, but also for the world. So America can remain a beacon of hope and inspiration for the world. That's why we're at January 6th. And that's why I'm not afraid or ashamed. They can come and arrest me and drag me off. I don't care. Because I believe in America. I believe in what it represents. And that's what we're there for. We're engaging in patriotism because we love America. We love what it represents. And we're going to preserve that. We're going to conserve that for ourselves, our children, for the future, for all mankind. To provide an example for the whole world to look at. So Africa, India, China, so they can be free. Follow the examples of these principles embedded in our Constitution. So you can be liberated, enjoy life to the fullest. That's what we want for everybody. We want to seek everybody's good. every race and nationality and ethnicity. And that's what America's all about, isn't it? But they're trying to destroy it. Trump represents America standing strong and free and brave. And they want to quash that out. And that's why they're trying to go against us. The federal government going against the people of the United States, the patriots, the Trump supporters, and exploiting January 6th and actually creating a narrative that never happened. I was there all day long. Like I said, it wasn't an insurrection. I didn't even see any violence, and I was there from 6:30 in the morning until 3:30 in the evening. All I saw, I did see what looked like, smoke, tear gas dissipating, I guess. And someone ran out and said that, they shot this Ashley Babbitt, and murdered her. So we need to stand up and demand accountability for our government. I'll be a lowly state legislator, but I'm going to do everything in my power because if I win, when I win, I represent the people of Texas. And a lot of Texans were there, and our rights have been violated. Our civil rights have been violated. My civil rights have been violated. This is a criminal conspiracy carried out by the FBI and other agencies and other people in the government, and they need to be held accountable. This is sedition. This is treason. We're actually being rolled over by a military junta. And like I said, Joe Biden is not the president of the United States. He's just a figurehead, while probably Barack Hussein Obama is running things and his minions. We can't have this. And then they say that we're a danger to democracy. Give me a break. And what are they doing? Trying to use this little phony insurrection, a false narrative they created to try to keep us from voting for the candidate we want. Trust the system. I'm going to close with this. Speaking of Barack Hussein Obama, he's the worst president, the worst world leader, if that's what you want to call him, one of the worst in the history of mankind. He's a moron. He's an utter, just a cretin, a villain. And, he wins the presidency. And there's a lot of hope and optimism. The first black president. This, is showing our country's making strides. We're going forward. We're moving past racial conflict. He doesn't want us to move past racial conflict. And he inflames racial tension. It's all about power. And I do want to overcome racial conflict and tension. We should love each other, despite, just racial features and skin pigmentation. Those things don't matter. We're all created in the image of God. But he's got this, left-wing extremist woke agenda. Barack Hussein Obama does. And, he was, he probably stole the election too. But at that time, it looked like, at least the first term, I don't think Obama won re-election. I think he won the first election, possibly. And it's like, okay, I don't like this president, but it looks like, at least the first time he's elected, it looks like he won the election fair and square, apparently. And, we have ways. I'm going to vote for Republican Congress, campaign, get involved, speak out. There's ways to oppose a bad president. You have to respect the democratic system, respect the office, but if you don't like what he's doing or who he is, speak out against it and engage the system, exercise your rights. That's what you do. That's what I did. Criticize them, but these people, the Uniparty, they can't allow us to have our civil rights or participate in our government. They have to weaponize the government against a man they see as a threat, Donald Trump, and people who vote for them. Let's just attack them, lie about them, throw them in jail, criminally prosecute them, silence them, censor them, and and then they have that. You're a threat to democracy. What do you mean we're a threat to democracy? You're the ones that won't let us vote for our candidate. You won't let us, you're doing censorship, but we can't speak out. We can't, using COVID and other things, we can't, or go January 6th for it. You don't allow us to peacefully assemble. You got your spies and agent provocateurs in here. This is like, the FBI is the secret police. What do they call it in Syria? Mukhabarat. That's that's where we're going. That is where we're going. I remember, I love Syria as a nation. That I cannot stand that regime, the Alawite or the Assad regime. And you're over there. It's the first time I've really been to a police state, where you have, thousands of secret police infiltrating and spying on you, and everybody has to live in fear of that. That's what the FBI is now, and it's going to get even worse if we don't change the direction of our country right now. 2024 is pivotal. Joe Biden's out there trying to incite fear and hatred in his speeches. But the fact of the matter is that the dollar has lost a third of its value, and it's probably going to lose more as long as he's in office. The fact of the matter is we're going to have as many as 12 million illegal aliens in this country or more. The fact of the matter is he's humiliated our country in so many different ways. He's an embarrassment. He's a shame. America's reputation has suffered so much under Joe Biden. And people remember how good things were under Trump, and they can feel the uncertainty and just, going into debt just to survive, just to put food on the table, not being able to think about it. You've lost a third of the value of your money. All your savings, gone. And sometimes people have to spend through it just to survive. This is what Joe Biden has done to us. And, all this stuff about him hammering on and blabbering on about, going on and on about January 6th, it's not a winning strategy. People are sick of it. That's what the Democrats do. They commit some kind of heinous crime. That's ancient history. That was yesterday's news. Well, January 6th, to a certain extent, is yesterday's news. The reason why they're arresting people right now and threatening to arrest more is because they want to keep it current. They want to keep that story alive. And that's why the Republicans got to step up and release all the freaking footage, for God's sake, so we could expose this lie for what it is. And, man, just grow a pair and start fighting back against these people. I appreciate Clay Higgins and was it Laudermilk and others, but now's the time to take action. What are you waiting for? This is an election year. People have been in prison and tortured for going on, it's 3 years now. It's going on for another 4 years. Stop it. Fight back. Stand up. And, I will. I'll tell you what. If I win the election on March 5th and I become the de facto Texas State representative of this district, I'm going to start kicking butt. Because I'll be the state rep at that point, de facto. Of course, I take office in January 2025, but I'm not going to wait. Once that I'm the state representative elect, which is going to happen March 6th if I win, March 6th, I'm going to start fighting for January 6ers. Because we need an elected official who's going to fight for us and stop this from going on and hold these bastards accountable for what they did to us. It's been a hard 3 years. But, I always felt this when they stole the election, and then they did January 6th. I believe they're going to rue the day that they did this, and they're going to pay a heavy price for what they did to our country. I believe that. I can feel it in my heart. And this is going to be, participating in this conspiracy, the seditious treason that they've done. People, mostly Democrats, but they had some collaborators on the conservatives, not on the conservative side. These are not conservatives. These are rhinos. On the Republican side, they're going to pay a heavy price. I believe that in the end, their schemes and plots are going to fail. But we got to go. We need to at least go after them as hard and heavy as they came after us. And the vast majority of us were innocent, and these people are guilty of a coup, and worse than that, of subverting our constitution and system and oppressing the patriotic citizens and the patriots of this country. So it's time to fight back. This is an election year. This will determine the future of our country. It hopefully will defeat them. If we don't, we're doomed. If they refuse to give up power, our country will not survive. We have to stand up. We have to work and struggle and exercise our rights to save America and our constitutional republic. This is for every American, every resident of this country, and for the hope of the world. So let's remember January 6th. I think I can see this. I can see a day where it'll be like the Henry V, where we happy few, we band of brothers here at January 6th, we bore all this, it's just like the cross of Jesus Christ, Paul and the apostles bore the reproach of the cross, and that's an honor to endure and suffer persecution as a Christian. And for me, I went to Iraq. I suffered for my country. I'm a disabled vet, and I consider it an honor to suffer for my country the way I did. And if we're able to prevail and protect our Constitution, everything I suffered because I was at January 6th, which I had every right to be, and I did nothing wrong. I was exercising my constitutional right to do that. And every American should have been there to stand up for clean elections and to hold our government accountable for allowing all this voter fraud. But this is going to be a badge of honor in the end. And people who are cowardly, they're going to hang their heads in shame. And hopefully these real patriots are going to stand up and take leadership position and save America and keep America strong, safe, free, so that we can endure as a country and continue to be the hope of the world. So, there's my comments about January 6th. I have my video, that raw footage that YouTube took down and censored. It's on my Rumble channel, so you can check it out there. So, thank you. God bless.